Howdy. Hope everybody had a good day today. Having a good evening, good night, good morning. I just hope wherever you're at, it's good. Well, there's been a lot happening in the last couple months. I've built a couple saws, had to rebuild the saw. I'll get to that in a minute. But tonight I'm going to put together the case halves of a Jonsered 670 Champ. I'm going to be using a OEM gasket kit that I got from HL Supply, red Durco HT, silicone sealant. All my bolts, I'm reusing the OEM bolts. Clean them in my ultrasonic cleaner. Tonight we're just going to put the case halves together. Depending on how long my video goes, I might put the oil pump on. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, so I'll give you a little update what's happened in the last couple months. I haven't made a video. I've been busy working like crazy, 7 days a week as a lineman for the utility that I work for. And then doing tree removal jobs and stump grinding. I picked up a grinder a couple weeks ago, kind of out of necessity because I was losing too many jobs to people that wanted their trees removed and the stumps ground. So I found me a good used stump grinder. It was about a year old. The guy ground 3 stumps with it and it sat in his garage. I got a really good deal on it, and in the last 2 weeks, I think I've probably had more stump grinding jobs than I have had tree removal jobs, and I've got stump grinding jobs booked out the next couple weeks. Aside from that, back in January, as some of you will remember, Dixie and I built a saw together. It was a Jonsered 2071. It had a highway 52 millimeter big bore kit on it that we used a Meteor 272 piston. I'd had some piston work done by House Sawworks in New Hampshire so that I could use the 272 piston in that cylinder. The saw ran great. I'll tell you what, it was by far one of my favorite saws. Still is one of my favorite saws. Got it all put together, ran a couple tanks through it. If you'll remember, I used the Dominant titanium wrist pin, which has a life expectancy of 35 tanks. It was kind of a test saw of sorts. I knew that it wasn't going to be a long-running, long lifespan work saw, that at some point in time it was going to have to be torn down and rebuilt. And needless to say, it failed premature at 9 tanks of gas. Now, it wasn't the wrist pin that failed or the bearing. It was actually the plating in the cylinder. I had a tree job. It wasn't a removal job. It was, I call it hash and slash. It was 18 citrus trees on a property that was being cleared to build a house. My job was to cut the trees down, cut it into 3-4 foot chunks, limit so that they could dry for a week before the guy came in to load them into a dump with a skid steer and haul it off. The reason they did it the way they did was they wanted to reduce water weight, so they figured if it was on the ground for a week or so, it would reduce the weight. Anyways, I spent about 5 hours on that job. It was really fun. I had a lot of good experiences with that, running that saw. In one afternoon, I burned 5 tanks of fuel through it. I came home, I was cleaning my saw, sharpening the chain, and I thought, well, I'm going to pull a spark plug and just do a random spark plug check. The spark plug looked good. It may have been a little lean, but it wasn't anything crazy. I put my flashlight down in the combustion chamber and I could see a hole. That hole was actually 2 holes. A second hole had formed next to the decomp port. So I'm guessing there was a flaw in the casting. Maybe it was hollow behind it. But at any rate, it burned a hole. So there was 2 about 3 30-second holes right next to each other where the decomp port is. I was pretty bummed out, but I also knew that the saw wasn't going to have a super long life expectancy. The day before this happened, I had it getting hot. I'd been running it. I put a tachometer on it, and it was turning 16,660 RPMs. It's pretty damn fast. I attribute that to using the lighter weight 272 piston, having it decked and a pop-up cut in it, and the titanium wrist pin. Now I was running a heavy mix, gas and oil. It was 32-to-1. I was using Blendzall Gold Label, which I've gone away from because it's a castor-based oil. I didn't know that castor-based oils were very dirty. I had a lot of carbon for just 9 tanks of fuel. The carbon buildup was crazy. So I tore the saw apart, put it in my saw building box, and I contacted Ryan at Wolf Creek. He was kind of bewildered. He had me send him the piston and cylinder. Highway ended up warrantying it out. I got a new piston and cylinder out of it, sitting on the shelf behind me at the moment. So I needed to rebuild the saw that Dixie and I had built, and I went a different route. I bought a Husqvarna 372 piston and cylinder from a fellow on one of the social media saw groups. His name's Sean Billingsley. And then once I got it, I sent it out to House Sawworks in New Hampshire and had some machine work done to it. Got it back, put it all together. Good numbers. Saw runs good, not as fast. It pulls hard, it runs fast. So overall, I've got a better, stronger, more solid running work saw that I used quite a bit on a job that I started last week. It's a charity job. You know, I work a regular full-time job, like I've said before. I'm a lineman for the utility, and I get a lot of grief and flack from some of the guys I work with about, why do you do things for free? You know, I'm a firm believer that you do good to people and good comes back to you. I learned that at a very young age. In my early 20s, I served a 2-year mission for my church, and it taught me about service, giving to others and expecting nothing in return. I picked up this job. It was an ad on Facebook Market, and it said firewood free. So I clicked on it, and it showed a picture of a couple trees. I responded to the guy, and he got right back to me, and he says, hey, first come, first serve. You hit me up first. The trees and wood are yours. And I said, hey, look, I'm not interested in the firewood, but what I would like to do is I'd like to come cut these trees down, and anybody that wants the wood, if you're okay with it, they can come get the wood. And he was kind of, you know, surprised, I guess you could say. But that's what ended up happening. I went down Wednesday of last week after I'd gone and done a stump grinding job. Met the guy, his name was Jim, super nice. And he was just kind of surprised that I was willing to donate my time and my tools to cutting these trees down, and not asking for anything in return other than I could just run my saws. I could test, further tune, work the bugs out of some of my saws, but he was ecstatic that I was there helping. I went back the next day, did some more saw work. Friday came, and it was stormy, it was raining, and the wind was blowing. And I sent him a message. I said, hey Jim, I'm not gonna come today. You know, the weather, the rain, the wind. I said, there's a Johnny Cash song called Lumberjack, and it talks about we don't cut timber on a windy day. I'm not a timber cutter. I'm just a guy that likes to run his chainsaws and cuts trees down. He understood, and he laughed and said, well, I actually heard that song last time for the first week, so the irony in it was just kind of funny. I went out Saturday after work. Somebody else had been there, cut down another tree, and had taken the wood. It was eucalyptus. The tree I was working on was a big pine tree. They took it because they wanted to dry it and use it for making furniture, utensils, bowls, artwork, home decorations, things like that. So anyways, I had somewhere to be at 5:30, and I told Jim I can work till 5, and then I've got to go. So we put a tagline on the tree. Jim helped me get it down. He hooked onto the back of his truck and put a little tension on it for me. I made my wedge cut, my back cut, and the tree went over exactly how we'd planned. And I spent the next 2 hours limbing the tree and bucking it up. It was a pretty big tree. I ran my Husqvarna 371 XP with a 32-inch bar, and it was just short of making it all the way through, so I had to come around and do a little cleanup cut. But anyways, good tree, good work, good job. Had a good time working with this man, and when we were done, I picked up my tools and I was cleaning up. And we started talking, and he was asking me about this eucalyptus tree that needs to come down. It's 100 feet tall. If it were to fall the wrong way, it would end up in one of the power lines for the utility that I work for. We don't want that. That would look bad on my part as a business owner, having this tree removal business and also being a lineman for the utility. So we've talked about removing some limbs on it to take the weight off that side so it'll fall where we want it to go. We've also talked about putting a tagline on it again to help pull it in the direction we want. So I think that's the avenue we're going to go. But Jim asked me about, what would you charge for something like that? And I said, if a person wants a hard money price, I'll give them a hard money price. But I said on something like that, I'd rather just do it for time. Let me come down, let me work on it, and charge you for whatever my time was. I think you'd probably get a better price doing it that way versus giving you a hard money number. So we talked a little bit more and talked about some other trees he wants to come out. And I just told him, I says, Jim, I'm here to help you in any way that you can. I want to pause real quick. When I responded to this ad, I did not know that this property was at a church. It wouldn't have mattered to me one way or the other had I known it was a church or if it were just an individual person's property. But being that it was a church, there's a little extra special meaning to myself to help this church. They are clearing this property to build their new chapel. So anyways, we talked about these trees, and I told him, I says, Jim, as long as I don't have a scheduled job to do a tree removal or stump grind, I will come down here and work as many days, as often, or as long as you need me until the work is done. Now, I'm not getting paid for this, and I really don't care. I'm getting to run my saws. I'm having a good time. I'm learning a lot in doing this. But anyways, as I was getting ready to go, Jim says to me, he says, Tim, I know I can't pay you what you'd probably charge for what you've done down here, but I want to give you some money for gas to drive down here, gas and oil for your saws. And I kind of, Jim, it's all right, you don't have to do that. And he says, no, I insist, your time is worth something. You coming with your saws is worth something. He says, I couldn't have done this without somebody coming to help. So I graciously accepted the money. I thanked him and got in my truck and went to my buddy's house for dinner and then got home. When I got home, I emptied my pockets, and I was surprised, to say the least. I was expecting a couple $20 bills. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And there was 5 $100 bills in my pocket that this man, Jim, had given to me. Why do I share this? Because I share this because it goes back to what I said in the beginning. I like helping people. I believe that helping people is a good thing, not asking for anything in return. And I wasn't looking for anything other than to run my saws and have a good time, meet some new people. And in the end, I ended up getting paid for it. I consider that a blessing. I don't know how many more trees on this property that are going to need to come down, but I know the big eucalyptus tree in the next week or so, we're going to take it down. But the thing I can say since this, setting aside that Jim gave me some money for helping, I have gotten phone calls, text messages, referrals from a service for tree removals and stump grinds. So my point being in this is, when we look to get nothing in return for helping people, we get more than we could have ever asked for doing good. So that's kind of my message tonight before I get started on putting this saw together. I believe in always what goes around comes around. You do shitty things to people, shitty things are going to come your way. You do good things for people, and good, great, amazing things are going to come your way. So anyways, let's get started. So I've cleaned these cases. They were super, super dirty, probably the dirtiest cases I'd ever seen. Like I said, it's a Jonsered 670 Champ. There's a little bit of a mag rod on it. I think the saw came from the Northeast, if I remember right. I bought it on eBay. I scrubbed and cleaned and hot washed and chemical washed and used degreaser and wooden skewer picks, and I have gotten this saw as clean as it's going to get. I think it's pretty clean. Down in here, there's still a little bit of residue that I can't get off, and to me it's not worth scraping at it and scraping the magnesium, ruining the paint. Not that it's a critical area, but anyways, so I've done what I always do. I tape my or use a zip tie and hold my crank back. I did put a new kill switch on it, OEM. My bearings were either NTN or NSK, I can't remember. Actually, right here, Taiwan, so I think they were NTN or NSK. I took a picture, I could go back and look, but anyways, it doesn't matter. High quality bearings. So I'm gonna heat the case. I'm gonna get my sealant on my piece of tape here. I'm gonna get my gasket on, and then we will get this case half heated, drop it in place, and bolt it down. I've got my screws already ready to go. So with no further ado, let's get this show on the road. So Dixie would be out here with me tonight, but unfortunately that poor kiddo, she has not had the best of luck in the last month or so with being well. She's had a cold, the flu, a sinus infection, an upper respiratory infection. And it's been like a solid month of being sick for her, or else she'd be out here with me. I took her a couple weeks ago to excuse me, to do a job with me over at a friend's house. She had been homesick from school for 2 days, and I thought, man, she'd probably want to get out of the house, so I asked her if she wanted to go, and she did. We got there, and she sat down on the easy chair in his backyard, and she just sat there. And then a little while later, she's like, Dad, I don't feel good. Can I go home? I said, well, sweetheart, yep, you can go home, but you're going to have to call Mom and tell her to use Find My Friends to find us, because I can't give her the address where we're at because it's in my phone. And yeah, so Mom used Find My Friend and found us at my buddy Harry's house where we were doing the stump grind. I couldn't just take her home. I had to have Mom come get her because when I was done with that stump grind, I had a small tree removal to go do up in Scottsdale, so it wasn't going to work for me to run her home and then turn around and head north and west in the opposite direction of where I was. Mom was on her way home from school, so it was no big deal for Mom to come snag her. But she's been on a couple antibiotics, and she's on a breathing treatment 3 times a day right now. I kind of think she's on the mend, and then she starts hacking real bad again. I feel bad for her because she's normally super well and healthy, never gets sick, but this last year, the poor kid, every bug that has gone around, she has caught it, not once, not twice, but probably 3 times. So she's in the house right now, sacked out on the couch. She's been watching a lot of movies. She has gone to school this week. It's been some kind of testing at the school, so she's gone so she could do that. But she hasn't had a whole lot of energy or desire to do much, and it's kind of been a bummer because we haven't got to spend a whole lot of quality time together. So, but anyways, she drew a youth cow elk tag up by Flagstaff, Arizona, that we'll go hunt elk together this fall, and her brother Levi, that lives up in Cottonwood, Arizona, that isn't too far from where we go hunting, will go with us, kind of make it a family affair. I'd really like to save up some of my vacation time and not just stay at his house and drive out every day, but go camping for a couple days. I think that would mean a lot to her to get to go camping for a couple days. All right, well, so there's my first bit of silicone. I think this red silicone, it's a little different. It dries a whole lot faster than the white Durco does. Kind of odd, but at any rate. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna put the gasket in place. I like to use a Q-tip to push it down because of my big fat fingers. And then I'm also, this way I'm not getting it on my fingers and making a mess everywhere I touch. So, all right, there we go. I'll get my next coat on, and then I'll get my torch fired up and get the case hot, and hope it goes together super easy. The last couple cases I've done have been pretty good. I did one that kind of fought me a little bit. I had to pull it together. So I guess since Dixie and I built the saw together, I've built, I don't know, like 3 saws. I did a Husqvarna 266 that had some machine work done, and I did the port work on it. I did a Jonsered 670 Super 2 that I did the port work on the cylinder. There was no machine work. I'll tell you what, that's one running saw. Everybody talks about how the 670 is like a race car. It's a super good saw. Yeah, they're not lying about that. I've got the one saw that I call my 670 West Coast. It's not a true West Coast. because it's got an aftermarket 268 piston and cylinder, but I managed to find a brand new OEM 670 cylinder a couple weeks ago, and I'm just waiting for the right time, and I'm gonna take the 268 Meteor piston and cylinder off, and I'm gonna put the 670 Jonsered piston and cylinder on, so that way it will be a true 670 West Coast saw. I think that would be pretty awesome. That was the first Jonsered saw that I ran back in 2001, 2002, when I was in Wyoming the first time. So yeah, a couple weeks ago, almost a month ago, we went to Wyoming for a week. Did some bumming around, went and saw some friends. The first time I lived there, I met a family. Their last name was Maxfield. They're super, super great people. The mom's name is Dixie, and that was where the inspiration for Dixie's name came, was from this lady, Dixie Maxfield. I just thought she was one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest ladies I'd ever met in my life. And when my wife and I were talking about names, we were kind of having a hard time coming up with a name that we both agreed on. And I had always spoken very highly of this lady and her family. And I remember the day I was at work, like when it just came to me that her name was going to be Dixie. I could drive to Queen Creek, the next town down from where I'm at, to the pole that I was working on. I was up in the bucket. I was jacking on hoist on a double dead end, and it just like came to me clear as day. Her name's to be Dixie. So anyways, we had a good time in Wyoming. It snowed on us. Saw the Wyoming state bird, the American pronghorn antelope. No, it's not the state bird, but that's what I call it. So yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get my torch started, get the pocket hot, and then we're gonna put this bad boy together. Summer is just around the corner for us here in Arizona. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm afraid it's gonna be a hot one. So after I get this saw built, I've got a Jonsered 630 I'm gonna do. I've got a Jonsered 2065 that I bought from a fellow in Canada. And then I've got an older edition Husqvarna 372 XP. The Husqvarna 372 XP, I've ordered a dominant Gen 4 piston for it. It'll come with a piston ring and I believe a wrist pin. And I ordered a set of the dominant hybrid ceramic bearings. So probably won't do any machine work on that from what I understand. It's kind of a plug and play piston and cylinder. But I'll do some basic port work, open the transfers a little bit, rough everything up, polish the exhaust. Nothing crazy. I don't have a mill or a lathe or anything like that. I've just got my Dremel that's kind of like a Fordham, and that's it. That's all I've got. Now I'm still pretty new to this whole thing. I kind of run on the less is more concept. All right. I think it's going to go together pretty good. Yep. It's going together great, pretty effortlessly. I guess it'd help if that wasn't in the way, blocking the view of the camera. So, you know, I've had a lot of fun building all these saws. Have fun with my little tree removal business. I'm looking at kind of expanding and growing. I don't know how quickly or fast I'll do all of that. I'd really like to find a chip truck with a bucket. I think it would help me be more well-rounded and universal and be able to do more and bigger jobs. My helper at work, who just got the pre-apprenticeship to become a lineman, an apprentice lineman, he comes and helps me quite a bit. He's been very valuable. He's helped me a lot. He's a damn good worker, and I'm gonna miss him like crazy when he's gone, but he's doing what's right for him and his family, expanding his career. I'm gonna do what he wants to do with his life, so I cannot fault a man for that. I will miss the dude quite a bit, but I know if he's available, he'll still come help me when I need a hand with stuff. So, well, that went together pretty good, I do believe. Sometimes it's a fight. It was one of the easier assemblies I've done. So, let's see how it is. So it's bound up a little bit on the one side. So give it an old taparoonie. Here we go. Now I've already got this side on, the bearing or the seal sits in the case, and I've got the flywheel on. So there is going to be a slight bit of resistance, but I'm pretty certain that the resistance I feel is just the oil seal. So anyways, I might throw my feeler gauges in there just to check the distance between the two. And see, yeah, that's money right there. So anyways, why don't we go ahead and put the oil pump on. and then I think we'll be at a good place to end the video tonight. Perfect. All right, I need to grab something real quick. So I guess I have to guide the oil pump or the seal over the crankshaft. So I've seen videos where guys use pop cans, beer cans, whatever it might be. I use foil back silver tape for doing HVAC type work. It works really good. I use this assembly lube, this Maxima assembly lube on everything. Works good, doesn't let anything stick. It's good lube for building the saw and for when it starts up, so it's not dry. All right, just like that. It pulls out. All right, so with these screws, I put a little bit of sealant on the ends of them so that you don't get an air leak. I guess thread locker would work the same, but this is what I've got out on my bench, and this is what I've used on my other builds. So anyways, here we go. I'll just run them down, start getting them a little snug, not tight though, and then I'll just kind of walk them down together so that it evenly distributes the pressure. Just like that. There we go. So, there we have it. Case for my next saw, Jonsered 670 Champ. It's gonna have the OEM piston and cylinder. I think the ignition on it was junk, so I'm gonna try it out, but I also bought an aftermarket unlimited DZE ignition coil that I will give a go if the OEM doesn't work. But anyways, here we have it. Next saw for Pioneer Tree Removal for my business, Pioneer Tree Removal. It's kind of redundant saying it twice like that. But anyways, next saw I'm building for my small business. I'm grateful for all the support I have in this, in my little business and everything I do. My friends here local, people that I've met all over the United States and Canada that work on saws, build saws, work in the woods, cutting timber or other tree removal services. It's great to know you guys, and I'm very appreciative of all the help. So anyways, I hope my video wasn't too long tonight. I hope you enjoy the content, and if there's anything that you see I can do that I can do better for my saw building, or even for my business, making suggestions. I am all ears. I'm still learning, got a lot to learn, and any help I get, I will be forever grateful for. Anyways, my name's Tim. I build saws for fun for my tree removal business in Mesa, Arizona, Pioneer Tree Removal. And this is it. Until the next video. I hope everybody has a good night, and we will catch you again soon. Thank you.